Welcome to our program, Jaiza with Dr. Hussain Thebo. After the significant victory of Pakistan against the India, now Pakistan is globally re-imaging their building, their perception and image building. After the successful economic engagement with the recent different countries, Pakistan gets a few major development. Pakistan gets lowest tariff rate from US. Pakistan buys J-35 fighter jet from China. Pakistan signed steel mill revival deal with Russia. Pakistan forms defense pact with Saudi Arabia. Pakistan restored the ties with the neighbor country Bangladesh. PIA resumed flights to UK. Pakistan secures $8.5 billion investment from China. Pakistan sells $4.6 billion JF-17 deal with Azerbaijan. Now it's time to boost the Pakistan economy after the successful victory in diplomatic and war situation between India and Pakistan. Now it's time to boost our economy. Our Prime Minister of Pakistan, Muhammad Shahbaz Sharif, and Field Marshal Syed Asim Munir, both are doing wonderful, and it is appreciated by recently by the President of United States of America, Mr. Donald Trump. We have today a very important panel to discuss about the importance of Pakistan in global village, also especially in South Asia. First, Mr. Imran Shaukat, he is founder and chairman of Reimagine Pakistan in South Asia. Imran sir, thank you very much for your time. We will discuss about the importance of your organization, and we have a very important guest, Michael Kugelman. He has no kind of introduction, is very famous in Pakistan as well. So thank you very much for visiting Pakistan in a very important time. Thank you very much for being here with us. And we have Mr. John Enduso. He has served as Consul General in KPK Peshawar. He has also a vast experience of US diplomats, especially in South Asia. He has served more than 8 years in Bangladesh. Excellency, thank you very much. And you have also asked me, don't say me Excellency, but I again say you the Excellency. So thank you very much, both of you, for visiting Pakistan in a very important time. Imran, well, again, I will come to you. Can you tell me about your institute, about your organization, the Reimaging of Pakistan in South Asia?
Thank you very much, Mr. Thebo, for inviting us. First, I want to correct, no, it's not an institute, it's not an organization.
Right.
It's an initiative.
Initiative.
Maybe we will develop eventually into something more formal, but for the time being, it's a group of friends who have come together with the single purpose that realizing, as you mentioned in your introduction, Pakistan is being seen very differently in the world, and Pakistan needs to start acting as it has been doing in the last 1 or 2 years in a different manner. So this initiative actually has two objectives. One is, how do we try to bring some integration in South Asian region? SAARC, as we all know, is a dead entity. It has never been able to make it past a semi-formal organization, really, which barely meets. So given that, we are looking at how do we do what we call sub-regional integration, which means how does Pakistan and Bangladesh start working together? How does Pakistan and Sri Lanka? How does Pakistan and Nepal? How does Pakistan and Bhutan and other countries of South Asia? So that is the one area that we want to look at. And fortunately, this is the first time since 1971 that Pakistan and Bangladesh are two countries that can actually talk to each other, that can accept each other, that can work with each other. And of course, John will talk a lot more on that. I have served in Bangladesh. John has extensive experience in Bangladesh. The other purpose is to look at what we call the sub-regional integration sectorially. What are some of the areas where we can come together which are non-controversial?
Right.
Of course, when we look at economic ties, FTAs and all that, it gets complicated. It's not as easy as it seems. But there are areas that we know that are very easy for us to start participating and bringing people together. And one area, of course, is tourism, and specifically faith-based tourism. So Pakistan has, in its history, important sites that are Hindu, that are Sikh. Of course, the founder of Sikhism was born here. And then, of course, Pakistan has very revered Gandhara sites, which are important to all the Buddhists, 550 million Buddhists in the world. So that's the other area we want to look at, and how do we bring confidence building between countries and people to people. The second area that we want to look at is, as the development funding is decreasing, as you mentioned, Donald Trump has eliminated US aid. Again, John and Michael can talk more on that, sitting from there. But myself, as being an old development person, we do feel that countries the size of Pakistan and Bangladesh really actually need to focus on each other and their own resources. And Bangladesh, of course, can teach a lot to Pakistan. They have handled their social sectors very well. Pakistan, not so much. We have our challenges. So how do we work with Bangladesh and other countries and learn from each other and then leverage each other's skills?
Right. Mr. John, how do you see the recent development, especially the United States of America and Pakistan relation, and Donald Trump praising our Prime Minister, especially our Field Marshal Syed Asim Munir role in that region?
So this is definitely a time of change in South Asia and in the U.S. and Pakistan relationship. As you mentioned, I used to work for the U.S. government. I spent 3 decades as a diplomat. But I'm very happy to be here today back in Pakistan after 10 years, speaking only for myself, not speaking on behalf of the U.S. government. So to build on what Imran mentioned, our sense is that there's an opportunity now. There's an opportunity to have a new conversation about Pakistan in the United States, and a new conversation about a new, different, enhanced relationship between the U.S. and Pakistan. At the same time, there are opportunities within the region for countries in the region to work together in different ways, for the people of the region to interact, to break down some of the barriers, to counter some of the misinformation and disinformation. And I think the United States, both the government, but I think more importantly, the people of the United States have an important role to play, whether it's the private sector, whether it's people in think tank communities, academia, just ordinary American citizens. And I think one thing that unites all of us involved in this initiative is that all of us consider ourselves friends of Bangladesh. I personally and professionally owe a great debt to Pakistan and the people of Pakistan for how warmly myself and my family were received during our time here. I served in Pakistan during some challenging times for Pakistan and some challenging times for the U.S.-Pakistan relationship. And I tell you, it's refreshing to be back here and just sense the difference, the interactions I've had with people thus far, a conversation that's much more focused on opportunities these days than on challenges.
Right. Michael, how do you see the recent decline of India and relationship between US and India, and increasing the good relationship of Pakistan and US?
Yeah, I mean, these are surprises, right? I think that many, even the most seasoned analysts, did not expect U.S.-India relations to nosedive and U.S.-Pakistan relations to take off. So it's been a surprise. I think when it comes to Pakistan, it's a case of Pakistan recognizing that for the Trump administration, foreign policy is viewed in many ways through a commercial lens. And in that sense, I think Pakistan capitalized and has been able to successfully pitch itself to the Trump administration as a potential partner on pursuing opportunities that are of interest to this administration, not just in Pakistan, but on the whole, if you talk about things like energy, critical minerals, and so on. Also, I think Pakistan is benefiting from the current geopolitical moment, given everything happening in the Middle East and the Trump administration's strong focus on that. The fact that Pakistan, of course, has geographic proximity to the Middle East, as well as the fact that it has very significant relations with so many of the key actors in the Middle East, the GCC, and of course Iran, for that matter, as well. Not to mention, Pakistan is, I think, one of the very small number of countries that you can say has very good relations with China, with the GCC states, Iran, and to a somewhat of a lesser extent with Russia. These are all key countries.
Right, thank you. Imran, we are talking about the Pakistan economy, how we can build a better economy of Pakistan. Religious tourism is a great subject, and you are doing a wonderful job since many years. What are the potentials in the religious tourism in Pakistan?
Well, thank you again, AF. As we have spoken before, I've been working on it for almost 10 years at this point. I'm happy to say that what started off as a small endeavor and which led to even threats of death for promoting what Pakistanis would call Butt Parasti, so to speak, is now on the national agenda, where the government has picked it up as their priority sector. The potential that I've looked at it, and I look at more on the Buddhism side, of course there is a lot of Sikh tourist pilgrims potential, but Buddhism alone is about 550 million Buddhists in the world. And the vision that we have put together, that the government has actually documented, is that if we only bring 1% of the Buddhists of the world to Pakistan over the next 10 years, and eventually we have 1% of the Buddhists coming to Pakistan, that's 5 million people.
All right, thank you. Going for a short break, coming back, stay tuned. Welcome back. We have a very important panel with us. Mr. John, you have served in Pakistan, especially in KPK. KPK is affected with the law and order situation is not good. But how your experience in Pakistan, especially in KPK in Peshawar?
Well, I served as Consul General in Peshawar from 2014 to 15, which was a time in which there were some serious security concerns, including the tragedy at the Peshawar Army School. But I was fortunate that before I came for that tour, I had also served in Pakistan earlier, from 1999 to 2002. So in that earlier period, I had the opportunity to travel freely, not just in Peshawar, but through the tribal areas, through the province, and had a great time and an appreciation for the area. I'm looking forward to returning back. And again, I think one of the unique characteristics of Pakistan, which at times is a challenge, but I think is also a strength, is the diversity of Pakistan, the diversity of the different provinces. Each brings something to the country as a whole. Everyone can be proud of being Pakistani, but also be proud of being from a certain region, as I'm sure you would agree with. I served, as was mentioned, in Bangladesh, and as everyone well knows, Bangladesh was also once part of Pakistan. That was an experiment that did not succeed. There was a terrible tragedy in 1971. And as Imran mentioned, for many years, the people of Bangladesh and the people of Pakistan didn't have an opportunity to renew those ties. One of the opportunities I sense now in the region is a willingness on both sides to explore how the relationship between the two countries and the people can move forward. There's an element of nostalgia, which is there, as well as the pain of separation. And I think the new government in Bangladesh, the post-revolution government, and the people of Bangladesh, particularly young people, are eager to learn about Pakistan. And again, as has been mentioned, there's a lot that Pakistan can teach Bangladesh, and there's a lot that Bangladesh can teach Pakistan. And the same goes for other countries in the region. So there are obviously challenges in the region to integration. But again, I approach this with a sense of hope and optimism.
Right. You have served in both countries, in Bangladesh and Pakistan. Bangladesh has taken a good initiative to control their population, to grow their product and export. What kind of, you may suggest the points to Pakistan to take initiative, especially to control the population and the our product, because our maximum export is $30 billion and major part is also to US. What kind of steps to be taken to enhance our export to US?
Sure. So as I mentioned, I worked for 3 decades for the United States government. So it may surprise you to hear me say that government is not always the answer. And I think this is really the story in Bangladesh, that while there were government policies over the years that enabled Bangladesh's tremendous success, much of that success, in fact, I would argue that most of that success is not due to the efforts of government, either the government of Bangladesh, frankly, or foreign governments. It was due to the people of Bangladesh, a thriving non-governmental sector, and a vibrant private sector and entrepreneurs, particularly in the ready-made garments industries. The raw material of people in Pakistan and Bangladesh is no different. There are creative, talented people in Bangladesh. I think the challenge for Pakistan moving forward, and the challenge for Bangladesh, and frankly the challenge for my own country, is to unleash the creativity of its people. For government to provide that enabling environment, but for the people not to look for government for all the answers. And I think as challenging as the cutoff in official development assistance from the US and others has been, I think this also provides an opportunity for some fresh thinking. Aid programs, while they serve a role, aren't the solution to every problem. And I think creative entrepreneurial spirit, as has been demonstrated in the tourism sector, I think is a critical factor. So I think greater interchange between people in the region, sharing of experiences, and looking for areas of cooperation, I think is one way to address these challenges that Pakistan and others face.
Right. Michael, how do you see the Pakistan role as a regional stabilizer, especially the recent conflict between India and Pakistan played a very vital and peaceful role, and also the recent whatever is happening in the Middle East, Pakistan is playing a good role, and our Field Marshal Asim Munir is also going everywhere to establish the Pakistan role and the, preferring to the peace. How do you see the role of Pakistan in the region?
Yeah, but I think we talk about Pakistan as a regional stabilizer. I guess it depends of how broad we're talking. I think it's very clear that in South Asia, Pakistan has friends, but it has many more friends outside of the region. Its closest friends are in the Middle East, and of course China, and of course friends in the West, and so on. As John and I think Imran were noting, there's a lot of potential for Pakistan-Bangladesh ties now, and I think that's really important. Hopefully that will continue. Pakistan, of course, does have a history of good relations with Sri Lanka as well, but beyond that, it's a bit leaner. So I hope that changes for sure, and that's certainly something that all of us would like to see, Pakistan engaging more with countries around the region, even though we can all agree that SAARC is pretty much dead. And of course, there are some governments, including Bangladesh's government, that have been calling for it to be revitalized. I don't think that's realistic. But any type of effort on the part of Pakistan to work with the friends it has in the region and others on sub-regional levels to try to leverage shared interests, shared concerns, whether you're talking about climate change or whether you're talking about public health, pandemics, connectivity interest, I think that would be a good thing to see that. But I think the Middle East is really the best way to respond to your question. The fact that Pakistan is a neighbor of Iran and the fact that Pakistan has a pretty good relationship with Iran, I think is very significant. It's perhaps not a coincidence that when Field Marshal Munir met with President Trump for the first time, he, along with the Prime Minister and others, as I'm sure you'll recall, had only recently been in Iran before that. The U.S. has pretty good relations in the Middle East with the countries that are also close friends of Pakistan. Iran is an exception. And so one wonders if there could be an opportunity, some type of role for Pakistan to play there when it comes to concerns that the U.S. has about Iran, messages that the U.S. would like to be seen carried over to Iran. There might be a way for Pakistan to play that type of role. Now, of course, also the fact of the matter is that Pakistan is now formally a part of the security architecture of the Middle East because of its mutual defense pact with Saudi Arabia. That's a whole other issue for sure. But I do think that we're seeing Pakistan become more embedded in the Middle East, in a metaphorical sense, in terms of its influence, in ways that we've seen previously. And I think that's very significant as well.
Very right. Imran, how do you see the recent growth of our economy? Our rupees is strengthened, our trade, our export is day by day getting in a good shape, and import is also a decline. You are a hopeful, you are also businessman and very interactive with the leading Pakistani businessmen, and Pakistani businessmen are hopeful.
I certainly, in the past year or so, there has been a huge stability that has come in. We all remember where the exchange rate used to fluctuate 20 to 30 rupees within a few days, and we had no idea. And there was a prediction at one time that it may hit about 400 rupees to a dollar. It has been stable at around 280 for the last year. And yes, exchange reserves are increasing. But I would seriously question a little bit on how much has our exports gone up and how much our imports have decreased. I would actually credit more of the economic stability to the work of the Pakistanis abroad. Your largest increase has been in the remittances, which have gone in the past year from 25, 28 billion to almost 38 billion.
Now it's our target to achieve the $40 billion remittance.
We're almost there. We're 38 billion, I think, right now. And I think that has contributed a lot. I cannot say right now that Pakistan has actually created any new sectors of economic growth.
Please allow me to ask a question about the brain drain. Like recently, our Field Marshal Asim Musin Saab has also told it's not a brain drain, it's a brain gain. If you will send your people to abroad, they will earn and they will send the remittance, and if the maximum our resource of income is $40 billion maximum, because $30 billion is our export and remittances. How can we enhance and how can we encourage and how can we motivate our youth, which is 65% youth of Pakistan, to go around the globe and earn the money?
We don't need to motivate the youth. They are going. You have 3 million youth that left last year. The youth are going. Now it is up to the government to look at what is the right mix of youth. In Bangladesh, this coinage of the term, not a brain drain, but a brain gain, that literally came up by Minister Moin Khan at that time. And he and I who were working on this, and we agreed, let us send people abroad, but let's target the sectors. We should not be sending them as unqualified labor force to the Middle East necessarily. Why don't we focus on sending 1 million people abroad that on skilled jobs? You have 3 or 4 sectors. You have elderly care workers in Japan. Japan needs 2.5 million. Worldwide, it may be 4 million plus that they need right now. Hospitality industry, again, one example of Japan. 80% of all hospitality industry in Japan is shortage of staff right now. Similar applies in even Thailand, Europe, and US. Then you look at IT sector, you look at the nursing sector. So we really need to focus more on, again, in a deliberate manner, how do you train? It's not just technical skill. If I'm going to send somebody to France, I want them to know some French language. I want them to know about the culture. I want them to have some sensitivities about the culture. And you send people with a mixed bag of skills. Technical is only one, but make them a human being that fits into that culture and assimilates better.
Well, thank you very much, and going for a short break. After short break, we will discuss few very important points at a short break. Yes, welcome back. John, you have served as a U.S. Consul General in Pakistan, especially in Peshawar. In your eye, what is the issue between Afghanistan and Pakistan? It's a 206,010 kilometers lengthy and complicated border between the both countries. In Afghanistan, you can't say Afghanistan is a stable country. How can we communicate, and what is the real issue between the both?
So I'm a student of history among my other kind of hobbies and pursuits. So in my retirement, I've been reading a lot about U.S. history. And I just finished a fascinating book about late 19th, early 20th century U.S. history at the time of the Spanish-American War and the U.S. military intervention in the Philippines and in Cuba. If you go through U.S. history, there was a war between the United States and Mexico. There were times when people from North America, from the United States, invaded Canada. And I start that way, not to avoid answering your question, but just to remind your audience that neighbors always have issues, even on a personal basis. It's tough being a neighbor because President Trump has initiated the idea of an America First foreign policy. This is a catchy slogan, but I think ultimately in international relations, every country pursues a X first policy. Pakistan should pursue a Pakistan first policy. I assume Afghanistan will pursue an Afghanistan first policy, Iran, etc. So it's natural that there will be issues between neighbors. And obviously there's a complicated history between Pakistan and Afghanistan.
Right. Michael, how do you see the recent Donald Trump's statement about Pakistan and our Field Marshal? Lighter note, Donald Trump is every day appreciating the Pakistan role and our Field Marshal role. How do you see the reality and what is background between the both?
Well, I mean, this will not be news to anyone, but President Trump is, as an analyst, it's difficult to analyze President Trump because he's unpredictable, right? It's very difficult to know what's going to come next. And indeed, I mean, we have seen him full of praise for very senior Pakistani officials. But he does this, I think, sometimes in a calculated way. I think that there's always certain reasons for why he does the things that he does. But my sense is that he genuinely respects Hussain Thebo in the sense of who he is, his level of influence, his power, the strength that he has, and above all else, I mean, just to repeat what I already said, just how powerful of a figure he is. I think that President Trump respects that. And my understanding is that when the two men met at the White House for the first time in June, it was a lunch meeting and it lasted about 2 hours. That is a very long time, quite frankly, for a US president to meet with any foreign dignitary, and certainly someone from Pakistan. So I think that the president would not have wanted to spend that much time with someone if he didn't actually feel he could get something out of it and would really enjoy the experience. And then, of course, he was invited back again, along with the prime minister more recently, for another meeting with the president. So I think that it's the fact that he sees something in the field marshal that he respects.
How do you see the future of BRICS? Basically, the BRICS is now based on only China, Russia, and India, and Brazil, and South Africa, and other countries are on the backside. How do you see the future of BRICS and how the Washington is observing the BRICS activities?
Yeah, well, we know that President Trump doesn't like BRICS. He sees it as some type of alternative to the U.S. that could undercut U.S. economic clout and all that. I'm not sure I'd agree with that assessment. But, BRICS is a grouping that for quite some time was very small, but it has started to expand recently. And I think that now BRICS has been able to capitalize on this undercurrent of grievance on the part of many countries outside of the West, particularly in the global South, that are just unhappy about the world order, and particularly the U.S. Role in it. And BRICS has always been this entity that is meant to provide an alternative to the U.S. and to Western-led models. So I actually think that we could see BRICS become an even more significant entity than it already was. And President Trump has threatened to impose tariffs on any BRICS member.
How do you see India is also going to trade between Iran and India, Russia and India? How do you suggest Pakistan able to trade with Iran?
I mean, I don't think Pakistan should let what India is doing affect its own decisions and its own calculus. But I think Pakistan has the right idea. It's trying to expand opportunities for connectivity, and we've seen this through efforts it's made in the Central Asia context. And it has this process in place to build out a transnational rail corridor with Uzbekistan and Afghanistan. You have to see tensions ease between Afghanistan and Pakistan to move that forward along a bit more. But I think that Pakistan has the right idea. It recognizes the Middle East and Central Asia are key spaces. ASEAN is another, I think, potentially important region for Pakistan because of the growing economies there and because of shared concerns about connectivity and climate change. But I think that you look at what Pakistan's been able to do with Central Asia, scale up ties there. You look at what it's been able to do in the Middle East. I think it's got a lot of potential right there to scale up its trade ties. And to be very frank, I think there are significant structural changes it'll need to make to its economy, and that includes a stronger export diversification strategy. But yeah, I think that it's on the right track.
Right. Imran, in the end, how you will suggest the people of Pakistan, and what's your group aim and ultimate goal, and who else people are joining you? Because in the presence of these kind of people, it will do a miracle for Pakistan economy boosting.
I'm not sure about miracles. It's just a small step, as John said facetiously to a political officer friend, that we're trying to create the Avengers, the new Avengers. And he's taken on the title of the Hulk at this point. So on a lighter note, before I answer that, I'm going to go back a little bit to your questions about Donald Trump and his statements, all in praise of our field marshal. And somebody asked me that. I said, let's not get too fixed up on that. Because day after tomorrow, Donald Trump can wake up and say, I don't even know the guy, I've never met him. It all depends on what mood he's in. And the other thing, which my colleagues who come much more informed, but in my layman opinion, we need to not get too over-focused on Donald Trump and the Republican regime. November is coming. The House will probably flip. And if it does, Pakistan has always had a very weak link with the Democratic side. If you recall, the last Democratic president, he wouldn't even pick up a phone call from Pakistan. So we really need to stop focusing just on one, and let's start finding some balance. And perhaps colleagues like these who know people on both sides of the aisle can actually help guide and advise on that, and their guidance and advice should be taken. Now, coming on quickly to this one, the group is growing. There's already about 8-9 of us. We come from the intellectual think tank side. There are former diplomats, and then there are development workers who come from USAID and other development backgrounds. And we will be expanding more, looking for more friends within Bangladesh, looking for more friends in Nepal, looking for more friends in Sri Lanka. John and I will we will be going to Bangladesh in January, and probably stop by Nepal too, because we both have friends there. And some of the friends are coming into power. And we'll be building on common friendships as we move forward. And the group, inshallah, will expand.
Right. Michael, in the end, how you will suggest a few points to the Pakistani government, especially Foreign Office, to maintain these kind of good relation with US in near future and for permanently as well?
Well, to think of myself as someone advising the Pakistani government, I think that, as I understand it, the government here is committed to pursuing a good relationship with the United States. But I would actually steal something from what Imran just said before, and that is that the government should look to promote a good relationship with the U.S. because it's the U.S. and because the U.S. is an important country, an important market, an important global player, and so on, and not be complacent about how things can change very quickly. I absolutely agree with what was said before, is that you don't know what could happen tomorrow, you don't know what could happen next month. As I said before, if the administration concludes that there's just too many challenges to access those critical minerals, well, you have to be able to pivot to focus on something else. So I would encourage the Pakistani government to be thinking about other pathways for cooperation between the two, whether that entails some degree of coordination on certain types of issues in the Middle East, whether it could entail, and I think this is a much more actionable idea, try to better capitalize on what the Pakistani American community can offer in terms of resources, connections, networks, to help strengthen some of these burgeoning sectors in Pakistan that could use a boost. As I said before, Pakistan needs to have a more diversified export plan. Textiles are great, but as we've seen in the Bangladesh case, you need more than just one single product, even no matter how competitive it is, to ensure sustained economic health. So I think that's another thing that hopefully Pakistan's government could focus on talking to the United States about, keeping that on the agenda for the foreseeable future.
Right. Mr. John, can you advise something? You have served as a Consul General in Peshawar and KPK. Can you advise some points for Pakistan to maintain a good relation with Afghanistan, especially?
So, as we've talked about before, whether it be with regard to the United States or other countries in the region, government to government relations are important. There are obvious hard power security considerations. But I think the area that is probably most beneficial is to look more broadly at the people-to-people perspective. Economic opportunities, opportunities to build on shared culture and heritage, and then to look for new areas of cooperation. The world is changing. It changes every day because of technology. And one thing that's been brought home to me, both in my personal life as I watch my children and grandchildren grow, but professionally as I look at the events elsewhere in the region, the future is going to be written by people who are much younger than us. It's this Gen Z that's emerging and asserting itself. So one of the things that I would suggest to the people of Pakistan and Afghanistan, and I would hope will take place between the United States and Pakistan, is that the interaction not only take place between those of us who have more years behind us than ahead of us, and more with those people who represent the future of our countries.
Mr. John, thank you very much for giving you the special time. A special thanks to Mr. Wahgal. You have also given us a special time. Imran, thank you very much for your time as well. We are going to end. Khuda Hafiz, Pakistan Zindabad.